We're back in the shop today. We have our X burnout truck, which we've decided to pull out of the weeds, make a Pour Diesel Challenge video with it. We did the Pour Diesel Challenge at UCC, and we love the truck so much and it performs so well. Figured, you know what, why not? Let's just go do another burnout with it. So we're gonna try to get this thing ready to do burnouts in Connecticut for Cleetus and Cars. We gotta up our improve our performance that we did from UCC. We did pretty decent performance, but it wasn't perfect. For Cleetus and Cars, if you want to be on the top of that box, you guys, you have to be perfect. Their point system is tight. It is very, very tight competitiveness in that class. Whether it's Burnout Rivals, Pro Class, Open Class, everybody's building more badass burnout cars. And one thing that's fallen off is the diesels. There's just not many diesels doing it. Me being a diesel guy, I've been running a gas truck. That's not right. That's not cool. So now that this thing's running pretty good, we're gonna do some burn skis with it. Huge shout out to Beefcake Jerky. Hooked us up with a couple bags.
You got you a little snacky there?
Dude, that's good. Fire me up. Huge shout out, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey, just so you know, they said that's my beef jerky. Oh. You're eating my beef jerky.
Well, you neglected your beef jerky in Louisiana. That's why it fell in the mud.
No.
Not my fault.
No, I felt bad about it.
We got the 6.0 back in here, and we just did a massive coolant upgrade to it. Cooling system upgrade. We put another radiator in the bed, so it's gonna be around the radiator in the front, radiator in the bed. Obviously we have nitrous to help cool down the intake air temps, which people are gonna be like, what? And it's like, yes, that actually does work really well. So we have nitrous cooling down the intake air temps. We have a small jet just pushing cold air in. And then to hopefully help keep IETs down, EGTs down, the whole deal, and we don't melt this engine down, we also have air to water intercooler.
Ooh,
our boy Brandon from America TV hooked us up with that. He used to run on his pulling truck. He's like, hey man, I got this old intercooler, not using it anymore. Why don't you guys give it a shot, see if you like it. So we're gonna throw it in here. We gotta get a couple bilge pumps. We gotta redo some intercooler piping, make a mount for it, basically redo the whole entire intake system on this thing, and hopefully make it fit. We're not sure if it's gonna fit here. We're trying to make it so we can still shut the hood on the truck. We don't want a ton of stuff hanging out. We may end up removing the factory intercooler and putting it up front. We're not 100% sure what we wanna do yet. We do not do this stuff. I'm not a fab guy. I'm not gonna say I'm experienced at air to water. I've never done it before. This will be the first vehicle I've ever owned with air to water on it. So it'll be a learning experience. I have some logs that I pulled. I'm hoping I can go pull the intake air temps and stuff like that from these logs I got, and maybe I can see what the intake air temps were before, and then on top of that, the EGTs, I know what they were before during the burnout. They were getting up to around 1500 degrees. It would be really, really, really cool if I could cap the EGTs more to like 12 or 1300. I know it's still hot, especially for gas guys, it's insane, but for the diesels. But if we can keep those EGTs down closer to the 1000 degree mark that we can, hopefully that helps, and hopefully that keeps this engine alive, because it's running really good. I mean, it's been running great, no issues so far, knock on wood, and God, I hope we don't go to Connecticut and have an issue with it, but it'd be really cool to see the intake air temp stay down and everything stay cool and make this thing do a burnout and make it live for a while. So we'll see what happens. We're gonna get on that intake, air to water. We're gonna start on the install. We're gonna have to remove a bunch of stuff, so we'll get started on that and see what we got for room, and then see if we can mount the cooler here. If not, we'll mount it up front. I don't know if that's gonna block radiator flow. The radiator is pretty massive, so I think we'll be okay, but I don't know. I am not an engineer, so, well, we kind of are engineers. We're kind of scientists slash engineers.
I get my lab coat, I am.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that keeps me from being a full-blooded engineer. Lab coat.
That's it. That's all we need.
Yeah. You got the beef jerky, so.
Till then, we're just mechanics.
Yeah. So for over here, that's pretty much as far as I'm gonna go for now. I may wind up taking some of this inner fender out, depending. I don't want to get into cutting all this out before we try to fit the intercooler in here, because if it doesn't fit in here and we wind up putting it in the front, there's no reason to cut a whole bunch of stuff over here out. Like this may get cut out too if we connect into this. I'm not sure yet. So let's get the front end pulled apart and then we'll kind of assess what we have and go from there. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So originally we were thinking we were gonna put the intercooler, this air to water over here and tie into it and then run it into the factory intercooler. But I think we've decided that we're just gonna pull this intercooler out and put that air to water. Talked to a couple people, talked to Brandon that it actually came from. And he says that air to water will cool it a lot more than this. So I think we're gonna pull this factory intercooler out and just stick this one in front of the radiator, so we'll have to build a mount, and then we'll just build some pipes because we've got our pipe there. So just in case we decide we want to go back, we'll just make another pipe that goes to the intercooler on both sides. From that, we'll put another vibrant clamp or the band clamps on there, and it'd be pretty simple to change back if we ever decide to change back. But for now, let's get this intercooler out of here and let's figure out how to get this one mounted. Here, it's also going to come right out. So what I've got is I cut this piece of angle for the top, and we're going to put our down braces on that. I went ahead and made these pretty simple. There's actually some pieces I cut off an engine hoist, so we'll get those welded on there, get them welded down there. Same thing over there, and our intercooler will mount to this. We got our two uprights in it now. I had to cut out a spot right here for the hood latch. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some marks on where my intercooler pipe is. I'll get the pieces bolted to the intercooler right here, and we'll get the intercooler mounted in that. So once I get it kind of ready to go, we'll go ahead and get it tacked in place. I'll show you guys getting it tacked into place, and we'll get it put back in the truck. Well, looky there. We got her mounted and she fits. I got it as close as I could to the grill because we were trying to get as much room as we could between the radiator and intercooler before we get some air between there. In theory, this intercooler chunk should be pretty cold, so it may help some on the cooling too, because it should pull cool air off that onto the radiator. I went ahead and tacked this one on, and when you fit it in here, it would fit really good if we were going straight to that. But I'm not going straight to that. I got my clamp on back there. And what I have here is another one. Now you see when I do this, you got a gap right here, and it doesn't line up very good. This pipe's coming way out. So I went ahead and marked this right there, and that's where I'm gonna cut it. That's where I'm gonna cut this same angle, because this angle works good, and this will go ahead and fit right in there. Went ahead and tacked this together. You'll see how she fits now after I get everything cleaned up. That's what we're looking for. Nice and tight all the way around. So it's got Motion Raceworks clamps on there, and it's got the Vibrant clamps on the other ones. But that's what I had, so that's what we used. So it is in and mounted. Looks good. Got all these welded out. So that's all done. Like I said, now all I gotta do is weld these pipes, and I've got to build the water tank for inside, which I have all the pieces right here for that. So I'm going to get them all cleaned up. And it's going to be a 2 foot by 1 foot box, which should be 10 gallons, which should be about 30 pounds of ice, I think. And then we'll run our lines for our water fill and our drains. This will be our ice box. These are our returns. This is where the hot water will return back in. I made one a little longer than the other where they don't both dump into the same spot. It'll be 2 1-inch pipes coming back in. So this one will dump here, this one will dump kind of over here is my thought. This will be full of ice. And then right here in the front, we've got to put 2 outlets. But they're actually going to be through hulls basically, and then I'll weld them, and our pump will hook to this side, and then this will go out to the air to water. So I got this piece of pipe right here. You see it doesn't have any bends in it. And this is a die. This is a negative and a positive, and this is what will roll our bead. I'll show you now. I take a piece of cardboard, put it on the back where I can keep it in there tight. And I run this down until I get it snug. I keep the cardboard in there. Cut my hand. And just crank this old drill, tighten it up. I make a couple loops around, then I tighten it up one time. There you go. As you see, we got a nice bevel around there. So that'll hold the hose on. It won't just pop off when we put a hose clamp on it. Intercooler pipes are welded and they're in. We got them welded up. I got them mounted into the intercooler. I've got all the piping's done. We've got some of our hoses ran. Now the next step is back over here to the water tank. We've got the bilge pumps. We're gonna get these bilge pumps mounted, get our hoses ran to there. You're gonna kind of loop them and bring them back into there. So let me get that done. And then once that's done, we'll go ahead and weld this top back on and get this thing installed. I know this hose looks like it's got a tight bend in it, and it does, but I put springs in both of these hoses where they wouldn't collapse. Springs are just like this, it's 4 hose. So I went ahead and stuck those springs in there. Got those bilge pumps mounted down to a plate that I had welded in. Next step, this little baby. I cut the hole in the top of it for the cap right here. So that will be, we'll get this thing welded out and that'll be completed.
So Justin has been on the way with the burnout truck. He's been crushing it. As you guys see, the air to water intercooler is completely mounted up. Everything is set up, ready to rip. I love it. I'm hoping, this is an experiment. It's a big experiment to do, but we're hoping it'll still get enough airflow around this to get to the radiator. And we do have the other radiator in the bed, so I think we'll be okay. There's still a lot of radiator exposed. I don't know, we'll see, I hope. But we also left a big gap. There's about a 6-inch gap there so that it can hopefully pull air all the way around it. But this turned out great. Justin did all the welds in-house. My man has never really TIG welded much, so this is pretty cool. He's just learning with it and crushing it right now. Motion Raceworks clamps on there. This thing is looking freaking good. Now we come over here, he's been working on this tank, as you guys see. So at this point, he is basically working on getting the top welded. He's already got the hole drilled. We already got our bilge pumps inside there. Filter the water that way when he's welding, it doesn't arc. And these are return hoses. These are the feed lines which come out of the bilge pumps. Should work out pretty good. And weld this lid on. We got us a cap here. That's gonna go in there like so. And then that'll be how we put our air to water, our water and ice inside the top of this thing. Hopefully it keeps it cool enough where we don't have any heat issues. So.
It's a lot of water. Yeah, I filled it up with water where it wouldn't melt those hoses or the pump.
Yep. Weld her up. One down.
I don't have any leaks that I see so far. I just temporarily hooked this up on the battery. Let's go in here and hit the button and see see if it works. So we can go out here. The brick is cold. I don't see any leaks. Don't see any drips. Now we can, I'll go ahead and get this battery put in here and get everything tidied up and finished up. I just wanted to check everything and make sure everything works before I go any further.
What do you think, man?
It's all bad.
I think it's all good. Looks really good, man. He just got done with the install. Everything looks great on it. Air to water system, you really don't even know it's there. And until you really look in the grill, it looks pretty badass when he's got this big something there. I just hope the radiator gets enough airflow. I think it will. And then obviously having the massive cooling system with the radiator in the bed, I think we'll be okay. The bed is really starting to take shape on this thing. I mean, look at all the stuff.
Dressing up nicely.
So that's awesome. But everything should be pretty good. Looks like we're gonna spray the nitrous to it. I really want to see what the intake air temps and what the EGTs are on this thing. So we're gonna go test it out and see what it does. Be really nice to know the difference in the nitrous and without the nitrous, with the nitrous. We're gonna go play with it at the Freedom Factory for a little bit, mess around out there, see what we can get to do, and hopefully don't hurt the engine, transmission, or anything else in the drivetrain, because we don't really have much time for the next event. But all in all, install looks like it went pretty good. Justin hustled on it, got it taken care of. Now we're gonna have some fun with it.
Something you might not know about this air to water, that's platinum.
I don't think it's platinum. No. And then, oh yeah, so we didn't even show you guys yet, but inside we got the tank and everything in here. This is where we're gonna put this is where we're gonna throw our ice and everything at. Got a little bit of water in there right now. We got our drain. Right now. Yeah. We got our drain. We got all the hoses. Everything should work out pretty good, I hope. Vent line up there just in case stuff starts sloshing around and doesn't get pressure built up, anything like that. 2 bilge pumps inside, which you guys already know about. All in all, should be pretty cool. Let's go have some fun with this thing. We just got unloaded here at the Freedom Factory. We're gonna go test this thing out. We gotta set the brand new tires on her, and we're gonna see how she does. We should be good on fuel. We should be good on nitrous. We should be good on everything. I am basically gonna go rip this thing and see what it does. Play around with it a little bit, see what we can do about those IATs and EGTs. Hopefully keep them down, and hopefully have no issues with it. We'll see. So we already put one back in, start cooling it down. Let's put this other. So we may have calculated our tank a little bit bigger than what we probably should have. We're gonna end up being able to put like 50, 60, 70 pounds of ice in this thing easily, with some water in the bottom of it. So the whole thing is, though, obviously, is try to keep this air cool as it comes across this intercooler here. This side's still icy, see it? That's awesome. That's what we want. The pump is not running right now, but it will be once we start getting out there beating on it. Letting that thing cool down too. Oh yeah.
There's about, I would say 60 pounds of ice.
60 pounds. And then probably a couple gallons of water, maybe 4 gallons of water, 2 gallons of water. But it should melt that pretty quickly. Once we start kicking this thing on, letting it go, she's gonna melt that. Biggest thing, EGTs and IATs.
So he got suited up, got his helmet on. He's pulling up here to the burnout pad, so imagine he's just gonna pretty much let it go and see what happens. What we're wanting to do here is we want to get the EGTs and the IATs and see what we got. That's the whole reason for this. I want to see if the air to water made a difference like we're hoping it did. I think it will. I think we're going to be good. Getting buckled in. Got the air to water on. So we'll see about 60 pounds of ice in the air to water tank. So we'll see how that does also.
far so good. So my EGTs never got above 1300, which is 200 and some degrees less than what they normally get up to. They're already back down to 700 right now, 750. IATs, 130 degrees. This thing used to idle at 122 before you go rip it. So I'd say that's pretty good. Watching it right now.
That tank still feel cold. I mean, it's still
ice cold. It didn't even like touch it. So I'll look. That was what, probably 20 seconds? Yeah. It was a short one. I'm not trying to crush it. We got plenty of tire, right?
Yep. Probably not gonna be able to get that off. I got the wrench up there.
Okay. But yeah, so far so good. So, like, man, that's awesome. Like, that is great on EGT. So I hit the spray a little bit. I was messing with the nitrous, but I was trying to watch the gauges and everything. So all in all, not bad. How much tire we have left? We got quite a bit.
Definitely through the wear bars.
Already?
Already.
Really?
Yeah,
I was easy on it too.
It's down as low as they were that last time when we went to Indy. They're where we started at Indy.
I changed the tire size. I'm hoping that helps a little bit. I don't know what the surface is like at Stafford.
Made a lot of smoke too.
Oh yeah.
It really did.
Well, what I'm gonna do is I want to mess around and see if I can start drifting this thing. Yeah. So why not, right? Let's see.
Yeah,
Make it okay, how hard is it to put the nitrous back up on the pedal?
2 seconds.
Let's do that real quick, and then I'm gonna try drifting this.
No problem at all. So you say you want to try to do a little drifting? You're gonna play around with that a little bit, see how it does. Pretty close, buddy.
No, it's good. I need to put some air in the front tires.
Gotcha, okay.
They're rolling over on me.
Okay. The other thing we need to do is I got a wire from the electric fans that were on the back dragging. I want to
We'll go tie that up real quick. All right, we're going to tie that stuff up. Be right back. All right. So after reviewing the data, we never got above 133 degrees on our intake air temp. Never got above 1,350 degrees on our EGTs. That is so awesome. And come to find out, our nitrous wasn't even working. So with no nitrous, which is going to help cool it down a little bit, and then we had our air to water on, we already dropped the EGTs 250 degrees-ish. And then we had, and it wasn't like creeping. Like it got to like 13 and some change and just stayed there. So it wasn't like creeping up. But really good sign, really good news. Hopefully we can keep this thing alive and it doesn't die on us. We'll see.
You got light in the back. I seen air under the back tire. I think it's a little different in a truck. Really kind of got to get used to the feel of it, I think, which that's with anything, I guess. Well, let's go see what we have for data now. The information we have is what we needed, and nothing seems to be blown up, which is definitely a good thing. The feeling, how's it looking? What we got in there? Water, it looks like.
I'm not a drifter. I know that, but no, there's still honestly quite a bit of ice left. Yeah. And the EGTs, they're between 900 and 1100 the whole time for a good little bit there. And I was, off and on it, and it's still ice. So I mean, look,
yeah, I see it.
I mean, so that's good. Look at the difference. Got your air in here.
Yep, that's what
It's hot, and then it's ice cold. I mean, it's definitely
It's wet all the way across, but this is warmer over here than here.
You can see the condensation
For sure.
stops right
Yep.
there, and the whole way across it's ice cold. So it's doing its job. So that's pretty awesome.
It definitely seems like it was a good move to make. It seems like it's making a big difference.
The biggest thing that we had, in my opinion, are issues with this truck when we used to do the burnouts with it was it was so hot. The EGTs were so hot. The intake air was so hot. I feel like if we can cool the intake air temps down, that's going to help cool down the engine, the EGTs, the cylinder. Everything should cool down. If you're putting hot air in, it's only going to be hotter as it comes out. I know it might be people are like, no shit, you know, duh, but it's true. You put hot air in, you got to cool the air down. Before we were running this truck, we were slapping it together to make it do a Cletus and cars and not really able to do anything other than that with it. So we didn't have testing on it and that kind of stuff. So it was always slap it together, let's get it running and going. Now we've actually got to sit down now that you're full time and, you know, really make this thing hopefully good. It's missing right now. I think I have an injector dropping out.
Remember when we first started it, when we first put the motor in, remember it had a miss. And then it kind of went away.
Well, that's pretty common though.
Yeah.
It's just getting all the air out, but this injector keeps dropping out. I'll have to figure out which one it is, and I will basically probably pop it out, have it looked over, and put it back in. Maybe even throw some additive in there or something to make it stop doing that. But all in all, I'm super happy with it. The engine temps are staying ice cold, 160 degrees. Intake air temps are staying around 100 to 130, which is awesome. That's like big time awesomeness on a diesel. And then EGTs never got above, they were like 1350. So before, when we sat there and did our burnouts, they would be sitting there around 1500. So we just shaved 200 degrees off our EGTs. Hopefully that helps this engine live. Remember, this engine does have almost 400,000 miles on it. Had like right around 400,000. So this thing could be on borrowed time. We took it apart, it looked good, but it's still got a 400,000 mile engine on it. But sometimes looser is better. Now another thing is I couldn't get the nitrous to work. So we're having an issue with our nitrous. We gotta figure that out. I think when the nitrous works, our intake air temps will be even colder. So let's see what it does. But otherwise, guys, we're gonna call it there. I'm super happy with it. This thing should be ready for Stafford. We're gonna try it one more time in the diesel, see how it works. Haven't been able to clench a Cletus and Cars burnout victory in the diesel, only the gas truck. So it'd be really cool to go out there and hopefully send it and get the diesel to be on top. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching the channel. We'll see you next time.